Have you ever wondered why certain moments can take your breath away? I'm Jennie Sikes, corporate recruiter turned soul alignment strategist, energy worker, and your friendly neighborhood doula for every stage of life except the delivery room. Each week, we open the toolkit, tarot, astrology, hypnosis, Reiki, and more so you can trade confusion for clarity, and autopilot for intentional alignment. Whether you're navigating a career pivot, a spiritual awakening, empty nesting, or just the sacred messiness of becoming, this space is for you. You're not just evolving, you're remembering. Let's rise together. The Ascending Dawn Doula show starts now.
Hey, everybody, I'm Dr. Pat, and we're kicking this off right out of the gate because understanding career through the birth chart. This is what Jennie is taking on. But listen, you got to listen to this because you don't hear anything about the full nature of what Jennie Sikes does in the world. And we were just talking about recruiting. So we're talking about career, but now we're talking about a birth chart because you see, this is what I love about what you do, Jennie. This is we are multidimensional beings. And this is so interesting now with the birth chart, with the 1 year, with the fire horse. And if you were born in the year of the ox, whoa, you're going to be getting set on fire and you're not going to want to. So this topic, tell me why this came up for you, because you've been in corporate America for like a couple of decades, right?
Absolutely. So yes. So to piggyback off that, it is a personal year one for all of us. It is the first month of the year. This is when people start going new year, new me, new job, new career, making the change, go, 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 right? And people are actively looking, and with the job market, it's intense and it has been intense for probably about 2 years now. But one thing I wanted to bring up in the timing of it all is yes, I've done this now for 2 decades, almost 2 decades. I can't claim 2 decades yet because I'm just a little shy of that. But corporate recruiting for almost 2 decades. And that means talking to at least 10 people a day, times 5 days a week, on weekends and holidays, offers and interviews and techniques and resumes and you name it. But what most people don't realize is you can take all of that oomph in finding a new job or a new career, say even right out of college, but you can also map it to the items in your birth chart. So the birth chart is a map and the numerology is a timeline. So if you are open to not only looking at your resume and how to beat the algorithms and which job boards are the best and how to like work with ChatGPT, but not work with ChatGPT because it's not always right and it will still kind of get a little wonky on you. If you pull all of the tools together, you create the pathway to success. And I love doing this for humans. I love it. This
Yeah.
is a part of my passion, and it has been for 19 years,
You
almost
know,
20.
this is exciting for me because I got to look back. And last year I talked about the year of the snake, but I had no idea what the impact would be on me. And I don't have enough time in this show to get into it. I am going to do a show on it
You should.
because the year of the snake for me, snake being one of my totems, just ripped the skin right off me in
Mhm.
more than one way. And so I've been hanging on to this new energy, this new year, and it's not let me down. I mean, the Seahawks are going to the Super Bowl, okay? But part of this, though, is understanding the dynamic nature of who we are.
Yeah,
Isn't it so that we know how to navigate the waters?
absolutely. Absolutely. And so if someone knows their sun sign, just naturally we all kind of know what our sign, what's your sign? Hey, what's your sign, right? We actually just know that part of
Well,
us.
you know my sign,
Yeah, well, you're a little freedom, fiery
Sagittarius.
Sag, yes, with
Yes.
great philosophy and going to the roots. I love it. But yeah, I mean, so we know our signs in general,
Yeah.
but if you can unpack your birth chart, which you don't have to go nitty gritty, you really don't. There are like top 5 items that I can look at and I can go boom, 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 and then look at your resume and then add in where you might best be suited, what roles would work really
Right.
well with your personality, your makeup, your characteristics. And then we go diving into how to get that job,
Mm.
how to
But
get
you
that
also look at
career.
the career market. You also,
Oh, yeah.
your area of expertise, man, when we start this out, it's
Yeah.
like people don't know how to read the market, but
No,
that's what you do too, right? It's
absolutely.
looking at career through the lens of recruiting and economics, et cetera, and
Hmm.
kind of bringing it all together because we don't think about that. You're right. I mean, even though I'm like Sag, I have a moon and three of the planets in Capricorn. That's why I actually showed up today for the show. But how do you do this? I mean, what is it and what patterns have you seen now?
As
Because I
far
think
as
it's
society
important
goes with the job
as
market,
far as the career and as far as a recruiter. I mean, you've
yeah.
mentioned some of the things you've seen, right?
Hmm.
What's kind of like at the top of your list that people that you sit with may want to know about before you can get into their chart?
Well, we want to find out where they're at. Why are you looking? Tell me the reason you're looking for something new, right? And I can have a 10-minute conversation and unpack it all just with some open-ended questions. And I typically do that. Why is it that you're looking for something new? Okay, you were laid off. Let's talk a little bit about that. Did you enjoy what you were doing? Or were you like, oh, this 9 to 5 is like not working for me? Okay, let's use that data, right? And now let's talk about your area of expertise, your wheelhouse, remote, hybrid, on site, your location, and now let's tap into the market for your little nugget of the world, right? So if you're in construction, you've got a whole nugget of positions, right? You've got a whole slew of positions. If you're in HR, whole slew of positions, government contracting, you have to kind of break it down into those areas. And you do have to talk about, all right, are you entry level, coming right out of college? Cool. Let me talk to you about your internships, right? And we're keeping up with the vision of what you have, what your soul is calling for outside of the roof overhead and food on table, right? We do still want that money coming in to provide, but we still want to unpack some of that data. I
Mm.
can do that in 10 minutes, maybe 15, just getting to know you. And then say, all right, send me your resume. Let's take a look, right? How do we beat the algorithm? How do we beat out other job seekers? And I hate to even say it like that, but the job market is tough, tough. You could be one of 100 applicants and never even be viewed because guess what? The algorithm puts you at number 50 because you had that keyword one time. Was it your fault? No. The algorithm, they just didn't see it the way that you saw it, right? You wrote an amazing resume, but we have to be competitive. And I hate to say it like that, but as a recruiter, I can give you the tools to be competitive in a market that is really tough. But again, that market, it ebbs and flows. It
Yeah.
ebbs and flows.
It's interesting because we don't think about timing for things either.
Mm-mm.
And, part of this is what you talked about, cycles of things, timings of things.
Hmm.
And, even the best candidates go through a cycle that we're talking about and don't turn out on top and don't really get why.
Absolutely. So that's when I pull in the numerology and I kind of just sprinkle some of this in to kind of gauge if the human I'm interacting with is open to that. And 9 times out of 10, they really are, which is fantastic. It says something about society and how
Mhm.
we're willing to be open-minded. And we just unpack a little bit the numerology. So yes, we are in a collective personal year one, right? But individually, you might be 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, right? At the
Right.
end of a 9 year cycle. And guess what? It's probably not a good idea for you to just jump ship from where you're at. Why don't you ride it out? Give it until one. Give it until one and time it out the right way.
I love that we're talking about this because your example of blah, blah, blah just got laid off and how you react to that. I set myself up to be laid off at the right time and didn't realize I was 6 months away from a pension, but I set it up because I got a severance. It worked out well for me.
Hmm.
But had I had perhaps a little bit more information, right, I could have still done what I did, but I'll never know. And yet, here we are today because somebody looking at making a change, looking at who they are, looking at their birth chart, right? I mean, it's hard to look at somebody who's so grounded in home to
Mhm.
move clear across the world for a job, but that may be the opening.
It might be. Absolutely. Well, then let's talk about the humans that say, "Oh, I can't handle a 9 to 5. My circadian rhythm is not working with me and I feel so lost and I feel ashamed and I'm down in the dumps because I just can't do a 9 to 5 and what's wrong with me?" Those are the ones that I'm just like, "Hey, let's really unpack this. It's not
Yeah,
you. It's the fact that your midheaven in your birth chart is Sagittarius. Hello, Sagittarius, right? And you know what I'm talking about here, Dr.
yeah,
Pat. You
yeah,
want the freedom. You want adventure. You want experiences. You are not meant to be a 9 to 5er. So your career has to go with the map of your birth chart for your soul to be happy.
yeah. This the greatest change that I'm going through right now is doing the 9 to 5. And I haven't been able to adjust it, but you just gave me some insight into that. And, when people hear that I was getting up at 2 and 3 in the morning when I was on the West Coast, they think I'm out of my mind. However, that gave me the flexibility to do other things in the afternoon, right?
That's right.
So part of this factors in, and part of what you do is help them see the landscape by which they're getting ready to take the journey. And how do you help them look at this from a career consulting perspective? How do you blend astrology, numerology, and tell me about the birth chart? How does that fit in?
I love it. I love it. It's science and it's woo-woo and it's everything in between, right? You're merging left brain and right brain mentality with strategy. So with the birth chart, you take a look at the midheaven. That's the one that I just mentioned. That's your career. That's your reputation. That's your legacy. That's what you leave behind after you have departed from this earth. What people are reminded of about you. Like, man, she was amazing with people and she had a fiery mentality, right? So you take a look at the MC, but you also take a look at your sun and your rising. And then you take a look at some of the pain points, like your North Node, which is like, oh, all right, that's my North Star, but I'm not really jiving with Aquarius energy. Well, guess what, friend? You might want to incorporate some of those characteristics and add that into your career. And then we take a look at your Chiron as well, which is the wounded healer, something you have from a past life. You want to take that, you want to heal it after you get to the root, and then you could teach it. So you add these different elements together, plus your Saturn. You definitely take a look at Saturn too, the disciplinarian, the slow and steady and my way or the highway kind of mentality. And you pull it all together and you do create that roadmap, if you will, for you. And it's your own personal roadmap. And I'll give you a little brief example. We'll just go my midheavens in Leo. And Leo gets such a bad rap for limelight, for, oh, look at me, right? It's not like that at all. So when I found out my Leo was an MC, I was like, what am I going to do with this? What does this mean? But I gave it time. And then what am I doing right now with you? I'm on a podcast with Dr. Pat in the limelight, sharing what I'm passionate about, teaching what I'm passionate about. It's not a look at me thing. It's a part of my destiny. It's my midheaven.
And so when you talk about that on the chart, let's just point for people that don't know, where is the midheaven?
Yeah, so
So
typically it's
people,
in the 10th house.
good to
Typically.
know, right?
Sometimes you might see it in the ninth, sometimes you might see it in the 11th. Everybody's special, but typically in the 10th house. Yes.
That's so funny. And when and because part of this is everybody's going to be running now and looking at the birth chart. That's exactly
I
what I
want
did.
them to.
I
Yes.
did. I pulled up my birth chart. Um, but this is the birth chart. Now I want to ask you one question. How does the birth chart factor in to where you live today? See, we get confused about that. There's a solar return. I did my solar return back here in New Jersey, but the birth chart is the birth chart. This is where you were born. This is your deal. This is your date. This is your time. This is this is your birth chart. Tell us a little bit about what to look out for when we're looking at this and how to look at it in terms of career.
As far as astrocartography and the moving of places,
Let's
that's
just
that's a little bigger,
no,
right?
let's just talk about it from a birth perspective. You're looking at this and people are like, w- water, what should I look at? How should I look at this midheaven? What
Yeah.
if it's water? You know what I'm saying?
So with
Because you
that,
have to
yeah.
factor it in.
You do have to factor it in. So what's really interesting about this is you can go to a baby, look at a baby's birth chart as soon as they're born, and this is so exciting. And it's not forecasting, if you will, but it is actually pulling in the elements of what is happening at the time that you're born. And you look at their sun and you look at their rising. Those are the two big factors. You look at their moon, how they work with their inner world, how they will work within their emotional space, and then MC. So you bring in those characteristics. Water, water everywhere. Is there water with a little bit of fire as an element? What's going to spark their interest? And you can almost map out that child's personality, right? Even before they've become a full adult. Now, if we want to reverse engineer it, we can look at ourselves as adults and then look back and go, well, that's why I do this when I'm upset, or I did this as a teenager, or I did this as a child, right? The different houses, the different planets, and then,
Mhm.
the career itself as an adult. But you only need to take 4 or 5 little sections of your birth chart, and it's super easy once you map it. And then
I
you
was
talk to someone like
shocked.
me, and you're bing, bang, boom, done.
I was shocked. I looked at my midheaven and I'm like, what? Midheaven is in Aquarius.
And
I,
what did I just
I
tell
went,
you?
what the
Aquarius?
heck?
Oh, it's
I
so
mean, but
hard.
I would have never looked at that. And I still don't quite understand what it is. I know what my ascendant is, but ascendant's Taurus, midheaven. I just looked at the thing right here on my birth chart, and I said, I've never looked at that before. I
Yeah.
don't even know what that
Well, let's
means.
talk about that. So your midheaven's
Okay,
in Aquarius,
that's what it
right?
says. 1 degree, blah, 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 19.
Okay.
One AQ 19.
So with Aquarius, within your career, your
It's in the 11th
reputation.
house, I think,
Okay.
or
See,
something.
I
I don't
told you
know,
everyone's
something like
special.
that.
I told you everyone's special.
I'm just reading the chart. I apologize if I'm giving you
No, this
bad
is awesome. I love
information.
this real-time example. So your MC is Aquarius and your sun is Sagittarius, right?
That is it.
Okay. So your MC, career, legacy, reputation. At the end of days when people are going, this is what Dr. Pat brought. What did you bring? You brought your fire energy of Sag, your deep thought process of Sag, but you're Aquarian humanitarian and bringing groups together in innovative ways to think bigger than the here and the now.
Mm,
And what are you doing with your podcast? What are you doing with your
yeah,
show? What are you doing with your communities?
yeah.
You're doing it.
And I think this is how, see, this is helpful information because I don't know that people want to stumble along like I did. I think I'm here because I was highly intuitive and I just went for it. But that is not what we're talking about in the career journey. You've got to get some insight here.
It's so easy. It's so easy. And yeah, if you want to just have your resume checked and make sure that the keywords are right and the placement is right. Oh, and that your resume parses nicely in the applicant tracking system that you don't see behind the scenes, right? You reach out to someone like myself that would do career consulting. But if you want to take it next step, a step further, let's take a look at your birth chart. Literally 10, 15 minutes. Let's take a look at astrology and the numerology. So easy. So easy.
So, as you do this, let's talk about. I know we've got a few minutes left, and I want to make sure we catch the key points because you're right about this. I mean, I stormed out of my first real job at age 17 because they put me in the library to file library research books in the Dewey Decimal System.
No.
I was there 2 weeks after the mailroom. And I stormed into Doris Stoner and I said, I can't stand one more day.
Mm-mm.
And I needed that job, right? Should have looked at my birth chart.
You could have.
But you understand, people are making these decisions without information. That's what I'm asking you about.
hmm
What information can you provide to people that are really looking at how do we crack this nut?
Absolutely. So one other thing I want to add with that question is that there are so many people who are actually leaving corporate America. There are lots of people that are um, they've been laid off from the government. They took the DRP. There's lots of items that are involved with the Our evolvement. We are evolving as humans. So there are lots of folks that are saying, you know what? I want to shapeshift. I want to do something more purposeful, more spiritual, more soul-filled, something, but I don't know what that is. What is it? What is it? Let's take a look at the
Mm.
chart. Let's map it out. Like a Libra placement in MC, you're meant to be with people. You're bringing peace, you're bringing harmony, you're bringing love. The Aquarius, like we just talked about with you, you're bringing innovation and solutions. The Leo with me, it's getting in front of people and teaching and sharing and not gatekeeping because there's no purpose in me holding all the information. You go to Cancerian. Okay, well, then you've got a really strong niche of intuition and a motherly nature, nurturing nature. How can we use that to best explore your soul mission now that you are leaving your comfort zone of corporate America? So we can really tap in at all stages that the individual is at, being leaving college, graduating from college and getting your momentum to climb some ladders, or you're, in your 30s or 40s, or empty nesting. You no longer need that particular job. You're ready for the next thing. So wherever the human, the soul is at, that's where we can unpack it and take it and further lay out the path. Does that
So
make
how
sense?
to, yes, it does, but I want to make sure people know how to get a hold of you to work with you because this is not something, I mean, I discovered something today I didn't know about myself at all. So
Yay.
how do people set time aside to sit down with you and say, look, I need to know how to now approach this from a
Absolutely.
how do they do that?
Simply go to my website, Ascending Dawn Doula, Ascending Dawn as in the break of dawn, Doula, Doula.com. And under the services tab, you can book a one-on-one complimentary session with me. That's 20 minutes, my time, your time, complimentary. Let's do it. And then if you want to go right into scheduling some time with me, you can very easily do that through my website and just book a career consult. It'll have an add-on where do you want to add on astrology? Check yes. Check yes. Let's do it.
I mean, this is so interesting. And for somebody like me who knows very little about it, I do understand the nature of it. And I understand more things now. I was just looking at Linda's chart. Midheaven is in Virgo, my little triple gazillion Virgo,
Oh
Linda.
my gosh.
But
Analytical, logical, acts of service. Love it.
yeah. And yet I had no idea. I mean, I only have a little Sag in my chart compared to how much Virgo she's got. She's got like 5 different things in Virgo. Now, what does that mean?
Oh,
Well, we have to
yeah.
sit with you because
Yeah.
somebody that is that analytical going into a one fire year, you either going to burn up on the way or you're going to get some help to guide you along, right?
Absolutely. And if she's got that many planets in Virgo, that means she
I
has a
had no idea.
stellium.
I had no idea.
Three or
There's so
more is a
many.
stellium, which means there is a lot of
I counted
strong
4.
Virgo
It's like
energy.
4,
Yeah.
like Sun, Moon, Venus, like Ju. But this is why we're talking about it. And I want to make this clear to people because you're the person they can go to understand things that are so hard as people to understand.
And I love and I'm honored to be able to be that person, taking something that I've been truly enamored with since I was a child, learning and growing every single day, and helping guide with little nuggets of information that people just didn't even realize.
Well,
I
I'm
mean,
going to
how
get on your
magical is that?
calendar. I have to get on your calendar now because I am understanding more about what I'm feeling, but not
Hmm.
enough to know how to move forward. And
Hmm.
that's the key. That's the key. When we're looking at this, we're not unidimensional. We're not.
No.
We haven't even talked about the energies of the one year, the snake fire horse, but that's what you do. What's your personal message? What do you want to leave us with? And
Oh,
give out your website. Let's find out how we
yes.
get a hold
So
of you.
website is Ascending, Ascending. Dawn is in the break of dawn, doula, Doula.com. Very easy to find. I know it's a mouthful, but Ascending Dawn Doula. And as far as the final message, I would say we each have a unique path, and we are the creators and co-creators of that unique path. But wouldn't it be great if you had a little bit of information just to help guide you on that path so you could be your biggest, most wonderful self.
And talk to Jennie about picking your friends. Let me leave you with this note. In an ordinary world, a personality like me and a personality like my best friend would not make it, except if my best friend with all that Virgo had an ascendant of Sagittarius and a Chiron of Sagittarius. So I'm going to leave you at that, and I'm going to book my appointment for Jennie.
Oh my gosh. That is
Thank
so
you.
amazing, Dr. Pat. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. For all of you out there, please don't try to navigate the waters of this year by yourselves. Please. It is extremely vibrant. And if you're not up for it, get some guidance. Call Jennie. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in with me, Jennie Sikes of Ascending Dawn Doula. Please tune in every fourth Tuesday at 11 Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern on Transformation Talk Radio. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who's walked with you through a transition. And if you're curious about how to align with your purpose, with your path, come find me at ascendingdawndoula.com or Ascending Dawn on socials. Thanks again for listening. Keep rising, and I will see you next time.